Hello, everybody. This is Jim Cruz from Affiliated Technology Solutions. In today's training session, we are going to be reviewing the Office Manager Portal. The Office Manager Portal looks like this. It's a completely separate set of windows, and the Office Manager Portal allows the system to be configured and managed through a separate web portal. Now, this is the actual web portal that we use to manage your system. So not everybody receives credentials to be able to access this portal. Only people that have been trained and only people that have the capabilities of updating the system. Now, if you do have access to the Office Manager web portal, we do advise caution because any of the changes that you make, this is a live system. So once you click apply or OK, then the changes will be made to the system immediately. And it could, and if you're doing the wrong thing, despite your intended intentions, it could break the system as well. So we just advise caution to make sure that you know what you're doing. When you first log into your Office Manager portal, it'll generally say Office Manager up here at the top, unless you currently have your extension assigned as an Office Manager. And if it does, it'll have your name there. The series of windows that you see here are all the different categories of configuration that we use to manage your system. The first one is called a home page. And on the home page, what you're going to find is a dashboard. And in this dashboard, we're going to give you the ability to see live exactly what's going on the system. So the first window that pops up predominantly here is going to be the current active calls on the system. And again, you can see from the duration counter that again, this is live. So it shows the caller ID information, name and number, the number that's currently been reached to the call, and the extension or direct dial number that's been dialed as well. So you'll see the status of the call, what the customer dialed, and who is connected to the call. Now over here, you're also going to see there's a listen in button. This is one place where you have the opportunity to listen in on the call, but this is only applicable if you're using your own extension as the Office Manager instead of a general extension, and you have a phone device connected to that extension. Then it would give you the capabilities to be able to listen in on the call, which is a live silent monitor of the call itself. If you're not sure if you have the capabilities to listen in, please feel free to reach out to one of our support techs and they'll be happy to help you with that. Below that, you're going to see what we call an active call graph, which is just a rough graph of the system, which gives you the ability to look at some call data reporting from a standpoint of peak active calls, call volume, and total minutes. Each of those categories give you the ability to review it by day, hour, or minute, and then all calls, which is generally used, or off-net calls as well. So again, this gives you the ability to look at some rough data. This My Organization item up here will show you when you're hovering over a data point, it will show you the date, time, and the number of peak active calls, for example, here at that time. So we invite you to go ahead and play around with this a little bit if you're looking for some rough data through the Office Manager portal. And again, hovering over the data points will give you that information. Over here on the right, you're going to find we have some statistics for you. Users and applications is pretty well static unless you add new users, more devices, more auto attendance, queues, conferences, or phone numbers. If you hover over the I is for information, it will give you the definition of that category so you know exactly what this information is reflecting. So if you make any configuration changes, then and only then will these numbers change. We also give you what we call usage statistics. Now, this is a number that resets back to 0 every night at midnight, and it will track the 24-hour period of time. So currently, there are 6 active calls on the system, a total of 122 phone calls for today, and the total minutes that has been applied. We also give you a calculation here of average talk time. SMS has to do with the chat and texting functions, how many inbound or outbound have been managed today, and then how many video meetings have been completed today as well. Again, if you hover over the I will give you the definition of each one of these categories. Then for this current month that you're in, we're going to give you what your total minutes usage has been, what's been your peak active calls, your total texting or chat, SMS, inbound, outbound numbers, and then how many video meetings. So this is the current month. At the end of the current month, this number will become the previous month, and you'll start back at zero, and that will give you the data and the current usage information as needed. So that is what you find here on your home page. The next window is called Call Center. Now, you may or may not have this window depending on if you're a call center environment. And this is covered under the Call Center Supervisor portal. So we're not going to go into a lot of detail here. The detail of this call center environment is covered in the Call Center Supervisor video training, which is available on the video website. So Users is next. Users is where you manage the day-to-day operations of all the users that are on your system. So when you punch into users, what you're going to find here is the ability to see all the user assigned extensions on your system, plus all the system assigned extensions. So routing extensions are here, voicemail box extensions are here, and any and all extensions on the system. So if you notice, the names are in blue because that's a link. So anytime you have blue on the system, you're going to be able to click on it and see additional information. So in this case, we're going to go into user Jim Cruz, which happens to be myself, and this is my basic user web portal. So when you click on the web portal name, what you're going to find here is the ability to be able to see additional links to be able to click on to go ahead and manage this extension. Now, the profile is going to be the same as what the user for the portal has the ability to manage, but it just gives you the ability to manage it as well in their absence. So you can see, you can adjust first name, last name. You can view what their login information is, a department or a site information as they need it, time zones, caller ID information, as well as dial planning, the account email address that's assigned to that user, and you can even reset the PIN number as needed. And this would be their voicemail PIN. Again, a good voicemail PIN is 4 to 8 digits, all numeric, and doesn't contain anything consecutive. Whenever you make any changes, always click the save button to be able to save it or cancel if you change your mind, and it'll restore everything back to the original config. And then to get back to your users, you simply click back to users down here. So what that enables you to do is to manage your users. A couple other items that are in there besides the profile is you can go in and manage the users answering rules. So this is how their phone, how the system directs the phone calls to the various phones that they have. And when we go to the phones window, you'll find that there's suffixes on the end of each of these. So if there's no suffix on an extension, what you're going to find is that is the physical phone. If they have a physical phone, then that would be indicated by no suffix. If they're using the web portal, again, that's the soft phone, WP would be on the end. S would be a soft phone. If they're using the mobile app, that would have an M on the end. So this is where you can set how the phone is going to ring when a call is received at the extension. The edit button over here on the side gives you the capabilities to configure as needed. This is where you also can call forward the number out to like a cell phone. There's a call screening feature, which is more advanced. You can even put the user on do not disturb as a temporary state by doing it here. So again, this gives you the ability to manage the extension or edit the current rules. Add rule is another feature that is very similar, where it's identical to the edit function, but this is where you can go ahead and add rules to the user extension. You also can manage the drop down where the number of rings are managed before the call goes to voicemail. And you also can view the user's allow block function, which again, in the video training, we cover that as the ability to be able to block garbage phone calls. But again, so the user can do all this, but we allow you through the Office Manager portal to be able to do it as well. You can access their voicemail configuration. Again, you can see how many messages or you can clear their messages. You can set up the voicemail greeting for the user as well right here by clicking on Add Greeting. Text-to-speech feature is the available feature for you to be able to manipulate or manage the user's voicemail greeting, or you could even record one yourself by clicking Record, putting in your own extension. Your phone will ring when you click call, and you can update their voicemail greeting for them. Also down here, we have email notifications, and these are voicemail reminders by phone call or text that you can set up. So you would check on the box, receive an email for voicemail. You can drop this down and see you've got a couple of options in here. The one I do recommend is send with attachment, because that will give you voicemail translation. And then after we forward the email from this voicemail box to the user, you can choose what you want us to do with the voicemail. And I usually choose saved or trash, so you don't have to manage the voicemail a couple of times. So explore those options, because that's going to give you that as well. And then if you make any changes, click save, and then you can click on back to users as well. So as we go back to our users, again, I'm going to click on the user name, and you also can look at their phones. And these, again, like I talked about earlier, are the physical devices that are connected to this extension. And again, you can see the web phone is the primary device that this user uses. But again, you can go ahead and add phones to this for this extension. Like if you wanted to add the mobile app, you can see it defaults to the mobile app as one option. But again, you can add in whatever you wanted to add, and then run down the list, and it'll give you quite a few options for you to be able to configure another phone device for this user. The last one is called Advanced. What Advanced gives you is the ability to manage the extension. So one example here is Reset User. This allows you to go ahead and go in and reset the extension back to a factory default configuration, which basically removes all the configuration that the previous user has and allows you to be able to go in and reset this for a new user. You'll see the email address here that's set up on the profile for that user, and that gives you the ability to be able to see what user email address is being used. If there's no email address here after the free reset user, then that means the extension is ready for you to be able to set the configuration for the new user. There's a send welcome letter feature. Now, this is a good feature for new users, and this allows you to go ahead and send an email to the new user, which allows them to set up their own credentials for their extension. Now, the credentials are really just the password itself, but it allows them access directly to the portal, their own portal, with their own credential, and then they can bookmark the portal from there, which gives them access. So this is a recommended item for new users, where they will receive the voicemail. There's a link inside the email. In the email, it'll say complete setup, and that allows the user to go ahead and set their own credentials. You also can force a password reset as well, and the password reset allows you to force the user upon their next login to reset their password. So this is more of an advanced feature, which allows you to be able to do that. Now, again, as a office manager of the system, we have a couple other features for you. You can import or export items. You can add a user if you have licensing available. In general, licensing needs to be added first, so you would want to contact us if we're going to add some new users to the system. Generally, we'll do it for you, and we'll just add the license, and then we'll set up the configuration. So again, time-saving feature. Send us the information for the new user, what extension you want, what name, email address, and maybe any cues that you want to add them to us, and we'll be happy to set that up for you. Also, your view here is configurable through the table settings. So when you drop this down, again, you can set here if you want to be able to see some additional views in the columns that are listed down below. If there's information here you don't want to see, simply check or uncheck the box as needed, and that's listed under table settings. Now also, there is a bulk add feature, which if you click on an extension or a number of extensions, you can go ahead and complete a bulk action to all extensions. So when you click on bulk action, you'll see the users that you have selected here, and you can reset multiple users. You can send a welcome letter if you're onboarding 3 or 4 or 5 employees at one time. You can list them all here by checking the box, and again, send all of them a welcome letter, or you can go ahead and force a password reset for all the users. So again, this is a bulk reset, which means you don't have to go in and do every single user. You can go ahead and designate the users and then do the bulk resets through this here. Now, initially, you're not going to see the bulk reset actions until you check an extension. When you do, then you'll see the bulk actions that are available to you. Another item that we give you is called Masquerade. Masquerade is a feature over here where you can click on the Masquerade button and you can actually go in and see the user's portal themselves. So this is a training tool that I use heavily when I'm training users to be able to show them their own portal. And again, as we looked earlier, their profile is listed here and all their windows are listed here as well. When you're done with the masquerade of that user, you just click on End Masquerade, and that gets you right back to your user list, and then you're good to go there. So that is user management, and that gives you kind of the day-to-day operation of your system, updating extensions, updating passwords, or whatever you need to be able to do. There's a conference feature in here as well. What the conference feature gives you is the ability to create a conference bridge. On your extension, you can add one additional user, if you will, and that additional user lets you go in and basically set add one additional body. But if you're going to have a conference call and you have multiple people on the call, this allows you to set up a separate conference bridge, excuse me, with a unique extension. Now, this would be an extension that's unused by anywhere else on the system. You can have a direct phone number assigned to this if you want to. You don't want to use your main number because everybody would be directed there. You would set a PIN number for the leader and for the participants, and then basically set some additional functions here. And then this would give you a link so you can communicate to your team, hey, at 2 o'clock, we're going to have a conference call, and I need you all to call into the main number and dial the unique extension. And what this does is it basically gives them a unique set of prompts, and these prompts allow them, thank you for joining the conference bridge, please enter your PIN number. It allows them to record their name, so that will announce them into the conference bridge. And again, if you need to set up a conference bridge, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to help you with that, or feel free to set one up on your own. And as you can see, for our company, we have a lot of conference bridges. Next window is auto attendance. What the auto attendance gives you is the ability to manage your auto attendance. Now, typically most customers have a day routing auto attendant, a night auto attendant, a holiday auto attendant, and maybe even a meeting auto attendant. When you look at your list of auto attendants, if you have a little play button over here on the side, that's a shortcut to allow you to be able to listen to the auto attendant greeting. If you then click on the day routing or the name of the auto attendant, it pops up a little edit button. And when you click on that, it opens your auto attendant configuration window. So again, this is one of the places I'm going to caution you to be careful on, because again, if you make changes to this and click save, the next caller that calls into your system will hear your changes. So you want to be sure you have here what you need. So here is where you can manage the audio of your auto attendant greeting. Now, again, we have several different ways for you to be able to set your auto attendant greeting. Text to speech is one of them. This is where you can actually type in the actual greeting that you want to have play. Most people go in here and saying, thank you for calling ABC Company. press 1 for new customers, press 2 for existing, press 3 for our sales department, whatever. So you would type in the actual greeting, and then you could choose one of these computer generated voices, and those voices will record the greeting for you, so you actually have the greeting. And then it's done instantly, so there's no lag on this. Once you choose a name, then you click here, click play, and you can hear what that voice sounds like. And each voice is uniquely different. So every one of them give you the ability to be able to choose from the different voices that you have. So again, that's where you manage your greeting and listen to the greeting from. Now over here are the actual actions that the greeting is telling the customers to what their options are. So pressing 1, for example, in this one goes to a queue. So the call queue is the sales team. Pressing 2 in this one goes to customer service. You can designate each one of the options. Again, it have to be recorded into the main greeting so the callers know what to do. Pressing 0 also goes to our customer service, or we've got some other items here, which is other administrative items. This one allows the users to check their voicemail boxes remotely. Now that would give them a separate set of prompts, and those prompts would tell them to enter their extension into their password, and that allows them to go. There's a settings button over here which gives you some additional options that if no key is pressed, if the unassigned key is pressed, gives them some drop down options for you to be able to choose from. So again, speech keywords is another item here. If they happen to hear a word, again, these are some additional options that you have. And again, this is a more advanced function. So if you wanted to add this feature, please reach out to one of our technicians and we'll be happy to help you with that. So again, the auto attendant greetings are again based on each of the individual auto attendants. And again, to add an auto attendant, you simply add auto attendant button. You give it a name. You give it again a unique extension. You give it a specific time frame to follow, and that is mandatory. And we'll look at time frames in just a few minutes. So again, it's not hard setting up an auto attendant, but you just want to make sure before you have it go live, you know that the auto attendant is properly configured, not going to confuse your callers or do anything bad. So that is your auto attendant window. The next one is your call queues. Now the queues are the answer groups. So these are from the auto attendant when we tell them to press 1, press 2. These can go to various queues, and a queue again is a ring group. It's a group of people that will ring whenever a number is dialed. So one of our options is our accounting department. So if you click on accounting here, what you're going to find is a separate auto attendant for this, or a separate queue for this group. So if they press the group, you click on the accounting name, and this is how the call queue group is configured. So these are all configurables. The biggest configuration in here would be the type of ring types that you get. The most common is called ring all, and that's going to ring all the members that are assigned to this group. Now this group could be one person, it could be a dozen people, but again, you designate how you want it to ring. There's also options to ring the longest idle person. We have a tiered round robin where you can designate groups within it. So it'll ring the first group of people, then the second group of people, based on if they're busy or not busy, depending on what they're doing at that time. So it's kind of a new ring strategy called tiered round robin. There's also a linear hunt where again you give it a predefined order, or a linear cascade, which is going to ring down through the group. So again, we invite you to explore these different options, test them, and see how that works for you. So again, there's some other configurables in here where you can determine yes or no you want statistics kept for this queue, or record calls for the queue, and again, as designated. There are some pre-queue options here as well. So if the queue is inactive, these are some items that you can configure prior to the caller going into the queue. Require agents is one. Require music on hold. Expected wait time. Max queue length. Allow callback feature. or forward if all the callers have the expected wait time has been reached. So again, these are some pre-queue options. There's also, once the caller reaches the queue, some in-queue options as well. So we've got options to say how much time do we want the caller to spend in the queue, which is called queue ring timeout, prior to going, if unanswered, to a number of different options here. And in most cases, we forward this then to like a voicemail box or an answering service, or in this case, we've designated for this one to stay in queue. SMS enabled is the voice to texting function. Again, this has to be enabled on your system to be operational, but this is just a place where you can configure it to go on or off if it's configured on your system. So those are where you can edit the queue routing features. And again, please let us know if you need help with this. We'll be happy to help you. Any of our techs can assist you to acquire the desired outcome that you want. Over here, you'll see a link that gives you to show you how many callers are in the queue. Or as we go across over here, we're going to find we have the ability to edit the agents. So in this case, it's going to show you all the agents in the queue and what their current statuses are. So you'll see online, offline, which is gray, or if they're busy on the phone, you'll actually see this turn red. So again, down through here, you can see the user's extensions, different suffixes on the phones. You'll see auto answer, which is another feature that you can configure. Any wrap-up time that's been assigned to this user, maximum calls, and maximum chats that they can receive. Now, if you as the administrator goes into here, you can also edit the agent's functions. So here you have the ability to take the user online or offline. So let's say the user gets up and goes home. You can edit their extension and take it offline. You also can set wrap-up time for a user. Wrap-up time is a configuration where at the end of the phone call, it gives them data entry time or administrative time prior to them becoming available on the system and getting the most phone calls. Max simultaneous calls is kind of a call waiting feature, which allows them to receive multiple calls at one time. SMS texting feature. You can set the queue priority if you're using the queue routing features that are the more advanced queue timeout or queue routing extensions. So again, you've got those options here. You can request a confirmation or auto attendant configuration as well. So there's some additional functions in here that you can go ahead and manage your agents. You also can go ahead and add agents or remove agents from this function as well. So it just gives you, if you click on add agent, gives you the ability to put in the user that you want to add to this group, and then again, take them online or offline. And always click save agent if you do, and then click done if you're done. So that is your queue management. There's also timeframes on the system, and what the timeframes give you is the ability to set holidays, business hours, and other functionality on the system. So for example, if you have business hours configuration, you click here on the eye to view what the current business hour configuration is. To reset the business hours configuration, you'll actually click on the edit for the item, and you can use these slider bars to go ahead and set or reset any of the time frames. So this is where you can set your business hours. This is where you can go and add Saturday hours if you want by checking the box and adding in the slider, or you can set early closes or late opens by sliding the slider back and forth. Again, we can help you with this, but this is standard business hours configuration. Then also you can set holidays in here as well. The holiday configuration is just a little bit different because this is where you would go in and set the holiday date that you want to have managed. So you would simply click on the add date range. It pops up another one here for you where you can actually choose the holiday date, and you can do this well in advance. And then you would set the date that you want. So let's say, for example, we want to do an advanced holiday. So we could choose something like May 29th. So you set the date and the time you want it to begin, which would be midnight. Then you go to the second window, and again, it produces the same result here, but then you would slide the sliders over to 11:59 as an example. And what that does for you here is sets it for the entire day. You also can go in and set multiple date ranges. So if you're going to be closed for a couple days, you can set this to start at 5:29 on midnight, and you can set this to end on the second day at midnight as well. So then you click save, and your holiday is now in place and ready to go. And if you hover over the holiday window, you'll be able to see the holiday dates that are there and ready to roll. To delete a holiday, let's say you change your mind and you don't want this holiday there, you can click on the X and that will delete the holiday, and then you're good to go. So that is the holiday time frame configuration. There is a music on hold window configuration here as well. You would click on the domain, and this allows you to manage music on hold within the system. You can manage, and we can assist you with custom greetings, marketing messages, or just your own music on hold as you want. There's an add music feature. Again, it's a little more advanced. So if you have a WAV file that you wanted to be able to add to your music on hold and designate timeframes or where you want that to play, again, get that email to us with the attachment and tell us what you want, and we can do that as well. There's also a message feature which allows you to add messages to the system. Again, add message, introduction will be inherited, and this is where you can add additional, auto attendant greeting messages, queue messages, or whatever you wanted to be able to add to the system. So there's multiple functions available there for you. And again, please feel free to reach out to us and we'll be happy to migrate this system and give you exactly what you're looking for. Inventory is an available function here as well, the second to the last window, and it gives you three different functions here: phone numbers that are on your system, texting or chat numbers that are on your system, and phone hardware. So this will list all the phone numbers that we have ported to your system. And again, if you notice, the phone numbers are click to view edit. So when you click on that, you get this little pop-up window, which allows you to configure where you want the calls to go. So when they dial a number, in this case, we're going to send it to a specific call queue. We're going to have some announcement options. We're going to have the option to put a name on this caller ID for your inbound callers. And then there's always a note window that's available there to you as well. To go down to one that is configured for instead of a test, in this case, we're routing this number to an auto attendant. So you can see there's available options for you. It's going to go specifically to this conference auto attendant number. It's going to say whatever we want it to say. So again, we have the ability to manage what it says, and then always add the notes so you can have that available to you. So again, you can edit any of the phone number routing by either clicking edit, or you have a little edit button over here on the side as well. So that is inventory phone numbers. There's also a chat feature here. So when we have chat or texting numbers that are on the system, same kind of configuration. So we would click here on the faxing number, and we would tell the system where to send the text or the SMS chat to. And again, that's based on specific phone numbers assigned to the system. The last one you're going to find here is called phone hardware. And this is going to show you all the physical phone devices. This could be Polycom phones, Yealink phones, or whatever you have on the system. It's going to show you currently if the device is registered or unregistered. It's going to show you the lines or the extension that this number is assigned to. And again, this allows you to be able to view what each of the phone assignments currently are. Now, if you go over here to the configuration settings for the Snap Builder, you can click on Snap Builder. And what this does is it gives you another view. It gives you an actual physical view of the phone and what the soft key buttons at the top are programmed as. You have the ability to program in the soft key buttons on the extension. The only one you can't do would be the first one, which happens to be the extension itself. That can't be removed. removed, but any of the other ones can. So if we click on the actual button itself, you're going to find in the drop down, it'll show you button number 2 is what we're programming. You drop this down and you can choose from a call park, a speed dial, a user BLF, whatever you want to be able to assign. In the case of a user BLF, BLF is known as a busy lamp field. So what that gives you is the ability to designate a specific person that you want to see on here, and that person's designation will appear on that button. So what that gives you is the ability to be able to have a button, and in this case, this was set up for 1271 initially, so I'll put Kathy back. But what this gives you is the ability to have a button for that user, and that button allows you to view and see if Kathy's on the phone or not. So the button will be dark if there's nobody there. If she's on a phone call, the button will light up so you can see she's on the phone. If her phone is ringing, that button will also blink, showing you the phone is ringing, and allow you, since you have a BLF, to be able to pick up the call for that user in the user's absence. It also serves as a speed dial to that extension. So if it's a person you call pretty regularly, you can call that number immediately. You also can set up speed dials, like we said. Speed dials would be a 10-digit number that you would program in, and that would be just a speed dial for you to be able to call. And then again, you can put custom labels on that if you wanted to just say husband cell, or a company name, or whatever you wanted to be able to put. Now, once you complete your changes, it's important that you go over here and save and resync the changes. Now, what this is going to do is reboot the phone and then push over the new configuration into the phone configuration itself. So it's important that you not be on the phone when you're doing this, number one. And number two, save and resync will take the phone offline for about 2 to 3 minutes. And then when the phone comes back, you will have that template installed on yours. Now, the users can do this as well. This isn't just limited to the Office Manager portal. This is a user function as well. And again, if you go into the inventory like we did before and go into phone hardware, that's where you have the ability to go into here and edit the Snap Builder buttons. The last window is called Call History. Now, this is an important window because this is going to show you every single phone call that goes through the system. And the phone calls are basically going to document for you the caller ID, name, and numbers, the number the caller dialed, where the call went to, the date and time, duration of the phone call. If you're using our call deposition feature, this forces the user to be able to designate what the phone call's status was, or the deposition of the call. You've got some error code reasons if they're here, and then release reasons. These are the what was the status of the call the last time the system had control of the call. So for example, the ORIG is short for origin by. That means the person that made the phone call, in this case Joanne, was the person that terminated the call. If it says term and by, that means the recipient of the phone call was the person that terminated the call. And that basically means who hung up first. If you see transferred, that's another one you'll see most common, and that gives you the ability to transfer the phone call. A couple other items you get here is you got the ability, if the calls are being recorded, to listen in on the phone call. So this is post call. After the call has been recorded and completed, you can go back and review the phone call. And this is a feature that's available to the users as well. So it's just a matter of if you have call recording enabled or not enabled. So if you get the call and you want to save it for whatever reason, you can download the phone call as well. So in the case of the download, it would give you a copy of the phone call in a WAV file format, so you can go and review that later if needed. We have SIP-Flow, which kind of gives you a more advanced flow of the phone call. We use this for troubleshooting. But a feature for you that we highly recommend is called Cradle to Grave. And what that does is when you click on it, it's going to give you a view of every single phone call on every single step that the phone call has gone through. So you notice here it'll start in seconds and milliseconds, and it'll give you the entire phone call every step of the way and what happens. And sometimes that's important on longer phone calls. So let's go to one here where we can actually look at cradle to grave on this one. And again, it tells you who was ringing. Carol answered the phone, and then 2 minutes, 20 seconds later, Carol hung up. So it's just a cradle to grave is just a view for you to be able to see what happened to that phone call. Now, again, this is going to give you every single phone call. We've got some expanded views for you down here at the bottom where you can expand the view and look at a bigger, longer list. But the lists get pretty long sometimes for some of you. So what you're going to find here in this blue box is the duration of the view. So this is going to show you 2 days worth of phone calls. But through the filter button, you have the ability to filter these phone calls by clicking on these calendars and controlling the date range. So you can set a specific date range. You can set the ending and starting dates if you want to see a specific week, a specific month, even eventually up to a specific quarter or a year, you can set those dates. But also here, because the list again gets very long, we give you the ability to sort this by extensions user or queues. So you can go ahead and select a specific user if you want and just see that user's phone calls, or you can look by department or site if we're not selecting a user. You can enter just a specific caller ID number or a dialed number, or you even have the ability to search by just inbound, outbound, or missed calls. So multiple numerous filtering capabilities for you to be able to do. But the other neat thing we give you here is the ability to export this list. So you can click on export and it will give you a comma separated value list of everything that you just saw. Now this looks like it's a spreadsheet, but it's not. It's a spreadsheet view of a .csv format. So one of the things you'll have to do if you're exporting this information is go to search, save as, and if you notice here, it's in a .csv format. So you can change that to a .xls format, change the name, and then save it, and it'll go to wherever your downloads go. Your downloads, in most cases, I go to my desktop, and then now you have a spreadsheet to be able to manage that call history list, just like in any other downloads or anything else that you've got. So export. We also give you a feature here that you can schedule these exports. So you would schedule an export to actually occur based, you'd give it a name, give it a specific frequency, and then create whatever it is that you want to have it do. You can also run this report immediately as a test to make sure it's going to give you what you want. And then again, you can set that. So if you choose a frequency, let's say daily, then it pops up another box here which allows you to set what time you want that to run, and then again the option to export immediately. So don't forget to click add, but then again this gives you the ability to be able to see exported call histories. Button here gets you back to your call history window. So that, in essence, is the Office Manager portal. Now, there's a few other more advanced features in here, but for basic day-to-day operations, these are the basic functions for you to be able to manage. So it's my pleasure to present this training to you today. Again, this is our contact information. If you have any questions or anything, one of the options we give you to manage your account is to go to affiliatedtech.com/manage. And when you go to that, at the top of the page, it's going to say manage my account, and that gets you to numerous options where you can create a support ticket to reach out to our support team. You can create a ticket to get to your account manager, or all of our training videos are located there as well for you to be able to review the same video that you're reviewing here today, plus many more. If you have an urgent issue, something that's down or something that needs changing immediately, we ask you to go ahead and reach out to our support team, which can be reached at 866-692-5844. Our support team is available to you Monday through Friday, 8 to 8 Eastern time, and a customer service rep will answer the phone between that period of time and will create a ticket and connect you through to a support technician. If it's something that can wait a few seconds, then if all the technicians are busy, we will get back to you within a short amount of time and get you fixed or whatever we can do to assist you with. So again, thank you very much for your time today, and we appreciate your patronage of our company, Affiliated Technology Solutions. And if there's anything we can help with, please reach out to let us know. Otherwise, good luck with your new system, and thank you all, and have a great day.